It's Friday night.
Welcome
To the ZWade Photo Show, the photography and chill podcast with your host,
ZWade Photo.
Welcome to the ZWade Photo Show, episode 2. Whether you're a seasoned professional, a hobbyist, or someone looking for your very first camera, I welcome you to my channel with open arms, and I promise I'll take real good care of you. I got a good show lined up for you today. We'll start off with some housekeeping for the ZWade Photo channel, as well as a super awesome announcement, and then we'll get into some news. There's quite a bit of it to be had this week, especially in regards to lenses, and we will wrap the show up with, get ready for it, the subscriber-submitted photo editing session. Yes, that's right. I finally have enough subscriber-submitted photos to do a editing session of my subscribers' photos. Some exciting things in housekeeping this week. 𝑭𝑻𝑪, last week's winner of the 100 Video Like Challenge, was awarded the right to choose a camera and lens combination that I have to use in a photo shoot of his choice. The combo he chose was the Nikon Z5 and the Nikon Z85mm f1.2s to be used in an urban portrait session. An interesting combination of entry-level priced camera and premium professional priced glass. Vic, congratulations on your win, and I'll have that video coming for you real soon. By the way, if you don't want to wait to win a prize, I do allow channel members to suggest video topics that I take into heavy consideration. Basically, by heavy consideration, I mean I'll do it if it's possible. So if you really want to see something specific, consider becoming a channel member. I will reserve the specific, choose my lens combo and specifically what I'm shooting. I'll reserve that for the ZWade Photo Prize Wheel winners, but just about anything else, if you want to see it and you're a channel member, I got you covered. The only other piece of housekeeping I have is the ZWade Photo YouTube channel is extremely super duper healthy. It took me 2 years of making terrible quality videos to get the required 1,000 subscribers to get monetized. That milestone was hit exactly 1 year ago today. No, I didn't start this channel on Fridays just to do that, but the timing is impeccable. Thanks to the efforts I've put in to increase the quality, which the costs have been supplemented by your viewership, and, learning the algorithms, which tells me what you guys respond to, and an overall really active comment section that you guys engage in. Basically, I'm saying that the partnership that I, the creator, and you, the audience, are engaged in has grown this channel by 130% in a year. At this rate, I could close to quadruple that by the end of this year. Thank you guys so much for your support, and I stand in true amazement. Now we can look at some news. Let's give a quick shout out to Nikon 𝑭𝑻𝑪 for the efforts everyone puts in over there. Luminar Neo and Topaz Labs Photo AI both have updates. I'll let you go into the specifics after the show, but in a nutshell, Topaz has lots of compatibility and quality of life improvements, and Luminar Neo has added a histogram. Can't believe there wasn't a histogram there before, to the Edits tab, bringing it one step closer to a one-stop shop for photo editing. Luminar Neo is a sponsor of this channel, and it does some super cool things, especially as a plugin with Adobe products. So check that out. That link is in the description if you do want to check it out. It helps out this channel. You got to do what you got to do. In short, it looks like there's no reason not to update either of these products, so you should probably just go ahead and do that. Not financial advice. That's a stupid dad quality joke. There's lots of lens news to tackle, so real quick, before we get into it, I did happen to notice that everyone's favorite camera, the Z8, hasn't arrived. It was supposedly going to be early April at one point, and then there was a secret meeting in a country with less Nikon sales than others, and conspiracies of casino parties and under-the-radar hype building. Bullshit. I knew it was bullshit. Not because I'm psychic, which I am, and that's why you should subscribe to the channel, but rather I knew it was baloney because Nikon doesn't do anything like that. Exotic meetings, genius hype building, or otherwise general fun for their customers is a Sony thing. Nikon's thing is saying nothing and then destroying hype by giving gear to people that hate them and telling them, say nothing until this date, then poop on it, please. Bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, there is a reason there are no recent videos of me discussing this camera. Not because I don't like it or want it, I probably will get it, but I am otherwise defeated. I have no clue where, what, when, why, or how, and neither does anyone else. I'm burnt out on the Z8 Nikon. Let's see some action. Lenses, 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 lenses. I can't believe I didn't get tongue-tied. TT Artisan AF 27mm f2.8 is coming to the Z mount. I've looked at it on Flickr, and almost all of the front page shots are on Fuji's. So who knows if this lens is awesome or if it's one of those cool Fujifilm presets that I love but pervade Instagram and the Flickrverse. It's metal. Cool, and the price is supposedly going to be $150. In all honesty, it looks pretty good, and with it being of good construction and having autofocus, that's pretty exciting. This is what I've been waiting for, good, affordable, third-party options for the Nikon Z mount. Nikon Europe screws up again, and this time it's not an April Fool's joke. They leaked a lens, apparently. I don't care about the leak of the lens because I'm not in the crop sensor space, but nonetheless, it's the Nikon Z DX 12-28mm f3.556 PZ-VR. That's all fine. It's 18-42 equivalent, which to me is quite awkward. And yes, we need Nikon to support DX lineup, but how about some nice prime lenses? But it has power zoom. That's what PZ means in Nikon nomenclature. Whoop-de-doo! Thank goodness for third parties that are now bringing in some really good focal lengths for Z-mount DX. Let me know if you're interested in that lens. Oh, real quick, Nikon Europe goofed up again. Probably an innocent mistake in code that the internet is running with, but they listed more cameras than actually exist. This is all rumor mill and speculation, guys. This could be telling or 50 other totally nothing mistakes. Ladies and gentlemen, wait for a real leak before getting your hopes up. Moral of the story, Nikon Europe, you're slipping. You're getting reckless and lazy in front of an already starving consumer base. Back to lenses. 7 Artisans, no, not TT Artisan, 7 Artisans has announced a new lens too, which is available for order now. It's a full-frame 15mm f4. Nice, I guess. B&H doesn't list it, but I see $359 on eBay, so I just had to look at this Flickr to see if it was worth a damn, and it wasn't over there either. I finally found the elusive lens on YouTube at Grays of Westminster. You can go watch that after this show if you're interested, but in my opinion, it seems to have nice colors and sharpness, and it better be because your minimum is f4. That's really all I can comment on. I hadn't noticed, but thanks to our friends at Nikon Rumors, I was prompted that the Nikon Z mount lens roadmap has been updated in January. Kind of. On the Nikon website, they removed the 85 f1.2 from the future lenses. By the way, after the show, in the description, you can watch the first portrait shoot I did with that lens. It's pretty awesome. That lens is sick. We are still expecting the DX 24mm, which I'm eager for the crop body owners to have because that gives you a 36mm focal length, and that's pretty standard. Of course, we see the 12-28 PZ VR we mentioned earlier, and 4 other full-frame lenses, a 35mm, 70-180, 135, and the much-hungered-for 2-600mm. Since the 12-28 DX 24mm and the 2-600 are all shadows, while the others are generic basically lens emojis, I assume we will see those first. Breaking them down individually, I'm happy for all of you who can use the 12-28 and the DX 24. Not my wheelhouse, so I won't have them, and unless they are sent for free, I will not review them. The 2-600, again, not a lens I'll use, as wildlife will not be a regular thing for me for another couple of years or so. The 70-180 isn't something I'll get since I have the 70-200 for now, but as time goes on, I've kind of come off my high horse on the Tamron, Nikon 28-75 f2.8, and I think it's actually a pretty good option considering the price. So for everyone else's benefit, I'm happy about this one, even though the following lenses I selfishly demand. The 35mm is an S-line lens, probably f1.2, and since the 50mm and now 85mm f1.2 lenses melt my face with their optical quality, I need that. 35, 50, 85, whew, I'm in business. I might need a pack mule though. And finally, the 135mm, which I'm assuming based on its placement on the lens roadmap is an f1.8, which I was super excited about until I started using the 85-12S. Now, don't get me wrong, I still want that lens because 135 has traditionally been in competition as my favorite portrait focal length, but the 85-12 is just so good that for right now, my patience is kind of suppressed. So I think for now, I'd rather see the 35mm f1.2 first. Let me know in the comments which of these lenses you would rather see first. That's all we have for the news, so now, the main event.
The subscriber submitted photo edits.
That's right, I finally have enough to actually include this segment, which is the whole reason I started the ZWade Photo Show. If you'd like to submit a photo for the show next week, you can send that to zwadephotolive@gmail.com, and I will pull you into the Google Drive. You will need a Gmail address for the best results, and you can check the description for this email. And while you're in the description box, by the way, check out this channel's sponsors to help support this show, or consider a super thanks or channel membership. Now we can get into the
photo edits.
Whew, I just got done with a good workout. I'm really exhausted, but I'm super excited to get into these images. So what I need you guys to do is call out your shot in the comments section. Let's get into this first one. Looks like a really cool entrance to a mall. Very cool. We've got these ghostly images here. And the first thing I definitely need to do first is straighten this up a little bit, even though unfortunately we're losing a little bit out to the side. Let's just see how that looks. Just a little bit crooked. That's a little bit better. And we've got nice equal space on each side. So I have to be careful because I don't want to ruin the integrity of these ghostly figures. Let's see if I do too much contrast, it makes them a little too obvious. So we may have to, I do need the contrast though. Give this a little brightness, give it some clarity, nice and punchy. See if it doesn't really need texture. Let's give it some saturation. First, I want to see what this looks like in black and white. Looks okay. Looks like it was taken with a nice lens, but I kind of prefer this one in color. So let's play with some greens here. Let me see what color this is. It's red. Let's bring that up a little bit. Cool. Let's go ahead and do our vignette, get that out of the way, see what this is looking like after that. That's going to be way too small. There we go. Ooh, I kind of like the drama of a really heavy vignette. Looks good. Ooh, I like that. The dehaze does some nastiness to it. I don't really want to do a whole lot more to it because I think it looks excellent already. And so I fear if I do too much, then we'll just totally kill off the ghostly figures, and I don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and check out a before and after. Now I'll go ahead and throw those up on the screen for you. Okay, on this next image, I'm not sure what I can do here right off the bat. I mean, it's kind of meant to be a shadowy figure. If I come down to, yeah, there's just not much. I mean, you can kind of see the bird if you do like that, but I don't think that's the point. And so, yeah, sorry, man. I just don't really know what to do with this one. We can get rid of that goofy thing. But other than that, it's a shadowy figure, and it's meant to be a shadowy figure. If anything, maybe we can just do a little composition or something. You could do like that if you want. At the same time, it's absolutely fine with the... In fact, it's probably a little better as the full shot here. Let's try some vignette. Yeah, just maybe just a little vignette. Yeah, there's just not much to be done here for me. It's a shadowy figure, so there's like, I mean, it is what it is right now, and I think that's totally fine. I wish that there was something like kind of crazy I could do to it, but there's really not. But I think it's a cool image regardless of that. Not every image has to be edited, so I'll just leave that one at that. So this is a super darned cool shot. It needs a little bit of an adjustment here. Don't want to do too much. We want that awning. See, whenever I first looked at this, I thought maybe, you know, maybe it's too much headroom, but then you notice the awning. And so I would just straighten it up a little bit. And see, now I'm divided because I don't know if I want to straighten these bars or if I want to straighten this. Those bars are obvious. And so we may be able to do this in a way. Yep, there we go. That's a good happy medium. This isn't too distracting, and this looks totally fine. So this is pretty grainy. It's, yeah, 12,800 ISO. And so this is going to be a tough adjustment because we're going to end up with a lot of noise. But how I treat noise is I just go kind of misty and foggy and almost like a painterly look. let's go ahead and start working our basics here. Let's get those highlights down to where we can see all that writing on the lantern. Boost up our shadows, give it some white. Okay, let's give this a subject select. I want to see what happens if I invert and kind of kill the background a little bit. I just need to refine this. Okay, and I want to see what happens if I bring this down. I think I like that a lot better. Let's go ahead and bring it up more, and then bring the background down. That's too bright. Okay, let's get this red boosted. Let's get the color of this dress boosted. Bring down that magenta on her face. Let's boost these colors. Kind of want to change the hue of that a little bit. This is a tough one, being shot at 12,800 ISO. Let's isolate our subject. Invert that. Pull it down. Boom. And actually, we might be able to do something cool with a radial gradient here. Give it like a big feather. And then subtract with a brush. Paint back over that. Cool. Let's go ahead and grab that and extend it. Yeah, that's cool. You see what we did there? We just added a little more like brightness to that, and we might be able to do the same thing here. This is a really cool trick if you do anything on with street lights. You can do the same thing. It's pretty sweet. So we're just giving a little bit of a cast to the wall. Then we grab a brush, a subtraction brush. You could also do this a lot different. You can just like take a brush and you could give it some exposure and you could just like tap around. You just want to make sure you do it with like a good feather. That way it's nice and soft. You could do a little, something like that. Add some light in the background as if the lantern's really bright. And I don't really like how much light we lost on the top. And so I can grab a linear gradient. Gonna bring that down. Bring it down a little more. And let's just play with this a little bit. Oh, not that one. The mask. Actually like this a little bit better, not being quite as bright. And boom. I like this shot a lot. I think this is very, very cool. It's much softer now. Now let's take a look at what it looked like before. Before. After. It's almost a little too bright, I think. Let's get a little more moody. Before. After. Before. After. So it's just my personal style. Whenever there's a lot of noise, whenever I don't have a choice but to shoot at a higher ISO, I'm totally fine just diving into the softer look. That may not be your thing, but that's what I like. Actually, I find it really cool that we pulled out the writing a little more on this particular lantern. I think that's pretty sweet. Now I'm going to go ahead and throw both of them up on the screen for you. Okay, so in this image, wow, this guy has absolutely shredded arms. Look at the veins. He lives in the gym. So we have a bit of a diagonal angle. It's fine. It's straight. It's just the perspective. And so we're going to leave that alone. This is a tough one. It's a little bit soft. Boom, boom, boom. Actually, what's this look like in black and white? This is a black and white image to me. For sure, 150%. Let's try to get some, trying to get some highlights off of them shrimp. Okay, let's go down to our colors because you always need to play with your colors when you're doing black and white. Yeah, let's pull those reds down. Let's see what the oranges. Yeah, there's where the shrimp come down. The only problem with this being in black and white is it is kind of hard to tell that they're shrimp. But the tonality is totally worth it in my opinion. You do whatever you want, but this is a black and white image to me. I don't think there's probably any purple. Nope. I don't think there's probably any magenta. Nope. Let's bring this up a little bit. Okay. Let's go ahead and do a radial gradient. This would probably honestly work totally fine with the regular vignette tool. And I actually want to do, I think, I'm going to subtract brush to bring this back a little. And I might want to individually work some of this. Let's go ahead and get a brush. Bring our exposure down. And I saw that I goofed up a little bit up here. There we go. Give a little bit right there. I like the fire being super bright like that. Let's go ahead and boom, something like that. I don't like it right there. Let's Control Z that. Go a little smaller. I'm going to grab another brush and just kind of, instead of darkening, we're going to brighten this on a couple of spots. Let's do another one. A couple more brighter spots, maybe right there. Most people don't notice this kind of thing, but I usually do it with all black and white images. Boom. I actually think might need a little more darkness there. Okay, I want to do some individual work on this shaker. Let's go ahead and grab another brush. Oops. Zoom into this. All right. You got to be careful with auto mask because it'll do some silly stuff sometimes. I usually like to use auto mask to get it going and get it like kind of close. And then I'll turn it off. I'll show you in a second. Especially out on the edges of out of focus areas, it'll get real silly real quick. See, we can kind of see it a little bit right here. And then I'll just like turn it off, flip the Wacom pen, or you can press Option on Mac, and you just go in and kind of clean it up. Clean up the edge with a nice feather. So we add our feather back. Just kind of clean some of that goofy stuff around the edge. See, that looks a little goofy right there. We go in and just kind of re-hit that. Okay, now we can individually work this. And mainly what I wanted to do was clarity, to give it some silvery sheen. There we go. Bring that down. Let's give it some contrast. Play this again. Let me zoom out and see what that looks like. Looks like it could use a little more up here. Sweet. Now that's super silvery. And instead of it just being an afterthought, kind of off to the side, what we have actually done is we've gone and actually brought attention to it because he's seasoning the shrimp and the whatever other meat this is. He's seasoning it, right? And it was kind of dark after the vignette. And so we just went and be like, oh, okay, there's cooking. Oh, he's seasoning it, right? It just kind of draws you over there a little bit. It's kind of weird to draw people off to the corner, but, you know, who cares? We have a wonderful orangutan. Orangutans happen to be my favorite of the primates. I just think they're so funny and they're so adorable. And we are going to treat this orangutan with respect. And we are going to punch I already know what I want to do with this because I've done zoo animals. Okay, so I want to see if there's any opportunity to brighten the eyes. No, probably not. Maybe a little bit on the face. We'll see. Let's go ahead and get our radial gradient. Get this maybe about like that. And actually what we can do is we can invert it and we can actually subtract select subject. I like it. Ooh, I actually like it a little softer. So let's see if there's anything to do in the color area. It's probably better just left alone, honestly. Take some of the blue cast out of the face, and let's see if we can't brighten the face a little. Maybe a tad harsh on the forehead, so let's see if we can soften that a little. Yes, we can. And then we just erase the overflow here. So let's go ahead and see what this looked before and after. This is current, before, after, before, after. I really appreciate you sending this image because, like I said, I love orangutans. So let's look at the before and after side by side. Here's a picture that is absolutely in my wheelhouse. The first thing I want to do, grab the exposure, move it up to 85 or so. And man, it already looks good. It doesn't need much done to it. Yeah, let's do a ton of clarity. Let's pull the texture, dehaze. Let's make it a little brighter. And actually, call me crazy, but I'm going to invert this and just absolutely destroy the background. Make it completely gone. Boom. Excellent composition, by the way. Super good composition. This way, specifically. Like, I mean, you nailed it on the horizontal there. Good job. This doesn't even need any, like, paintbrush work. Let's just go into luminance. Love it. Beautiful. Let's do the same thing in saturation. Got to be careful with saturation. And then I think I'm going to take a brush after all. But that feather's a little too big. And just one click. Ready? 3, 2, 1. I got a different idea. I'm going to remove that. I'm going to give this a little bit of, like, it's radiating its color. And that will allow us to get a little bit of brightness on this brown area. Pretty! That green is a little distracting. And so I'm going to show you kind of an advanced trick here. I don't do this very often because it's a total pain. But you can grab a brush and you can go to this little color box here and you click on that and you're going to grab the box right here and you're going to drag it out to a color that you want to adjust to. So something like that. And then you desaturate on the saturation slider. And we're going to hit the auto mask so I can kind of keep it controlled. And you go in here. And the idea is that you're actually desaturating and then resaturating with the color of your choice. And it's a total pain. But super, super effective. I call this like an emergency tool. So the only time I really use this is if I have like a color cast on somebody's skin and it's an absolute nightmare. And see, we kind of blend it into that color. I'm going to, oh, dadgummit. I'm going to grab the hue. Going to play around until it kind of matches. And I noticed that we spilled just a little bit. So let me grab this exposure and see where we spilled. And it doesn't really have to be perfect as long as it blends. And then we can try to bring it down to the color of the surrounding objects. Boom. Needs a little bit more on the exposure to kind of blend it a little better. Just kind of hide it. Boom. There we go. And watch, whenever I zoom this out, boom. We no longer have a distracting green in there. Isn't that cool? I love that trick, but it is an absolute pain. Well, that was pretty quick and easy and beautiful. Let's look at the before. Before. After. Before. After. Excellent job. I really love the shots that are in that area between flower photography and macro photography. It's not right up in there, but it's close enough to where there's not really anything in the background to be distracting, right? It's really focused on the flower, and you can really fill the frame with the flower without it being a macro shot. That's the kind of flower photography I really like. So good job on that. This one here was sent by our friend Roy Bixby, and unfortunately, this image was not dropped into the Google Drive. It is a JPEG. It was sent by email, and so there was a little bit of compression, and then downloading it, more compression. And so I'm not going to be able to do much with this. I mean, it's already there because it's a JPEG, right? The colors are already good, you know, but anything I try to do to it is going to basically destroy it just because of all the compression that it had to go through to get to this point. And so I don't want to leave it out because it's a nice shot. It's good vertical composition of, I'm not sure what kind of bird this is. You'll have to help us out with that, Roy. But if anything, we'll do this because I can't help myself. That's not the tool. Give it a little bit of that. Actually, we'll do a radial gradient instead. That way I can control it a little better. Give it that. And now those blues are obnoxious, and so I'm just going to pull them back. And I'm going to go ahead and soften that vignetted area too. You see how we just clean? It's kind of hard to see probably on here. But let me try zooming in. See, it's just a tad noisy up here. Again, it's gone through a lot of compression. But if we just pull that back just in the vignetted area, we maintain the detail and our bird here. I think I might want to shift the hue a little bit of this green just to make it a green that I like more. Actually, yellow looks pretty good too. Now let's see what it looks like before and after. Before and after. Okay, so that's not much change. Again, I already mentioned it's gone through a couple different types of compression. It's always better if these things get dropped directly into the Google Drive because it's already like full res. But nonetheless, it's an excellent shot, excellent composition. It didn't need anything done to it, but just because I have it here, throw a vignette on it, right? Now we are in my wheelhouse. This is right up my alley. So this is a beautiful shot already. The lighting is just absolutely stellar. It looks fantastic. Need to do a little retouching, maybe work with these highlights a little bit. Let's go ahead and do this. So I want to, actually the lighting is just so good. I almost just need to work the dress a little bit, and I can see a little bit, maybe a blue in here perhaps. Yep. So we'll just go ahead and pull that down, make it white again. Very little needing to be done. Boom. This is such a good image. Let's go to our contrast. Contrast. Boom. A little bit of shadow to bring some more of that chair in there. Some white, some black. Let's cool it a little bit. Actually, I think I like it a little more warm. Boom. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and jump into Luminar Neo with this one. And the only thing I really want to do in here is just a little skin AI. And that is like it. Yep, just blend some of them tones a little. Let's give it a tad more. Boom, that's good for me. And now I need to take this into Photoshop to get rid of some blemishes. Sometimes, guys, whenever you're doing these retouchings, you don't know whether something is a natural thing or like an abrasion. On this one, I can't tell. It's on the out of focus area, and so I'm going to opt to just do that. This is going to be a bit of a doozy, but I think this is a little distracting. I want to make sure that's not distracting. I may do a little something with that. Yeah, way better. But we're going to go ahead and do something with that back in Lightroom when we get back over there. Clean, 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 clean. Okay, I'm going to get a little tedious here. I'm basically treating this like I took this picture. Basically, guys, what I just did right there was I just painted the area and I desaturated it. And you can do the same thing with teeth, by the way. Works really well. Looks a little bit unnatural. A little too much desaturation. Boom. About like that. That's a little better. I might just go ahead and just be very gentle with our brush here. Just pull it down a little bit on the brightness. Still a little something distracting there. That is a stunning, stunning picture. My God, that is such a good shot. Dude, excellent, excellent job. This guy knows his lighting. Just, I mean, just look. That shadow is amazing. I don't want to get too crazy. It's amazing. So this is the before and after. Before and after. So that is very... It was a lot of stuff that went into that, but as you can see, the image itself didn't change that much. It's just a little bit warmer on the skin, right? So we brought out, and I have no idea what the bride looked like because I wasn't there. So I don't know what her skin looked like, but we made it a little more fleshy toned, and we just did some touch up. And that is how you know that you had a really darned good shot, okay? So excellent job with that. Let's throw up the before and after right by each other. Well, guys, we did it. We got through a subscriber submitted photo editing session. For the sake of transparency, that took a very, very, very long time to put together. It seriously probably took me like 4 hours or something like that to make the video editing segment. And then it took like another few hours to do the other segments. And then, you know, like writing the script and the news and all that stuff. It took a really, really long time to put that together. So I'm not set in stone if the ZWade photo show will keep being a subscriber submitted photo editing session. I had to forego a lot of stuff, my workout regimen, and then also editing other videos that you guys are used to seeing on my channel. So the ZWade photo show may change a little bit and may be a little more fluid, maybe not so dedicated to the photo editing. But if there's a lot of interest, guys, I will do my best to keep this going. But if this isn't really something that's going to get like a ton of interest, I'm totally happy, you know, switching to something else. So I just don't know if it's sustainable. So you guys let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this second episode of the ZWade Photo Show. I'm ZWade, the ZWade, and ZWade Photo. Stay sharp, YouTube.